Welcome to Behind the Scenes with Ange, episode 2. Can you believe we're at 1 year anniversary? I don't know where the time went, but it's so great that you have all stayed with me with all of this and the adventure and the journey and getting to meet some of the most profound, beautiful, amazing, talented people in the porn industry. And speaking of which, today's guest, I am so excited to sit down with this man. He's so talented, he's so entertaining, and he's just such a sweetheart. And it's going to be so much fun sharing so many facets of this man's background, his history, who he is, how he got into the industry. It's going to be super exciting. So thank you very much for joining us. And my special guest, Mr. Josh Moore. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. Surviving the virus, being in isolation, but doing good.
Tricky.
It is. It's a very tricky position to be in because you have to go out on occasion, but stay away from people. So it's been an interesting experience.
Very interesting for everyone, I think. Yeah.
I think it's creating a new normal that I don't think anybody ever considered would ever happen to us.
Mhm.
So be interested to see how this all ends up playing out, to be honest. So
Yeah. I'm hoping it's a one-off thing, and then we can go back to.
right. It's funny how much you think about being around other people and hugging and being close and that human contact. I mean, obviously you can still like this and do video and talk, remotely, which a lot of us do because not everybody we know is like in our town. There's people we know all over the world. But it's interesting when you're told you can't be around someone, versus choosing not to be. So,
For
yeah.
sure. Because I generally choose not to be around a lot of people. And now I'm, apart from like filming, I'm generally quite not a very sociable person. So, yeah. And now I've told I'm not allowed to. I'm like, I want to be more social.
Yeah. And I think that's going to change. And I'm just the opposite. I love being out sociable, but I'm taking full advantage of the opportunity to be more introverted.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm not on some level. When I want to be off the grid, I'm completely off the grid. I don't want to be disturbed at all. So, it doesn't happen very often, but it does. And so, it's kind of nice to be taking advantage of being away from people, just to be kind of a brat and be introverted. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So I'm really glad that you said you would sit down with me and do this interview because I've been looking forward to cornering you to do this, and so I'm taking full advantage of everybody being stuck at home.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm usually so busy with just work and everything like that, and we've been planning it for ages, haven't we?
We have.
And I think I ghosted you for a while.
It's okay. I don't take it as ghosting. I just consider it, we talk about it and then things come up and it's just the way it is. So trust me, I don't take it personal. You are not the only one that I'm hurting. I have lots of cats.
Listen, I porn stars. It's like trying to pin down a little piglet, isn't it? It's like trying to take a pig.
A greased pig.
A greased pig. That's it. Yeah.
I never lived on a farm, but I got really good at it eventually. So if I consider myself a happy, fun annoyance, so I just annoy happily. Come on, do the interview. So eventually you guys just give in and do it because you're like, she's going to go away if I do this. But I don't go away. I just, stop annoying about the interview. But anyway. So let's just jump right in. So tell me about Josh growing up and where did you grow up, and tell me about your childhood.
Where did I grow up? I grew up in a very small town called Dover. may know it from the White Cliffs, and also home to Henry VIII's castle, which is Dover Castle, one of the most famous castles in the world. And it's the closest place in England to France. So that's where you cross over from via the ferries from Dover to France.
Okay.
And yeah, and it's a lovely, lovely little town. And the whole way through my childhood, I think I took it for granted. And everyone's like, "Oh, I can't wait to get out of my hometown." But then I got out of it quite young. So at 18, I moved away to Brighton. And then from then on, because I got out of it young, I think I really appreciated the town and the way I grew up, because I had a really, really nice upbringing. And I hear a lot of people and their stories and how their childhood was, and I kind of am quite thankful for mine, because I had a really good upbringing. Very fond memories. School was it was pretty good. I loved school. I generally really, really enjoyed it. There was, as in like every gay person, most gay people growing up, there's the comments, there's the, there's being called a fag and a gay or whatever. But I kind of, when I was growing up, I kind of latched onto or made friends with, in my second year of secondary school, I made friends with some girls, and they were very popular, and I became kind of in the popular crowd. And although, some of the boys used to call me gay and whatever, and then I became friends with some of the boys, and then we was a cool crowd, and
so you were kind of insulated.
I was kind of insulated, and in this group of girls, and they were my protection, and they were fantastic. And then I started making my way around these girls, snogging them here and there, and performing random sexual acts in the park, and that kind of got me the free pass from the gay card. It was, oh, Josh did this and Josh did that with this girl, and that was kind of like, it took the focus away from that. So I kind of had a plan, and I hid it well.
It sounds like it. Keep them guessing. Keep them guessing.
Exactly. That's the one.
So when did you come out?
I came out at 17. I didn't actually come out, actually. I was outed. Drum roll. Yeah, so basically, so I went into, so when we can leave school at 16. Well, we used to be able to when I was 16. So I didn't choose to leave school, because you can leave school and you can go to something called college, and it's not the same as what you call college. College is something at 16 you can go to for 2 years, and that's a pre-university. So, or you can stay on at school and for another 2 years until you're 18 and do your A levels. So I stayed on to do my A levels, and I only lasted 1 year, I think. But so I stayed on at school, and then I got a job as a lifeguard, and it was at my local pool, and I'd been swimming there for years as a child, because I was I was swimming for my county the whole time I grew up. So I knew the pool, and I knew everyone there, and I finally got a job there. It was kind of like my dream job, because I really, really wanted to, be a lifeguard and just have that kind of status. Like, yeah, I'm a lifeguard. And it was great, and I met some new people. And my brother at the time was 3 years older than me, so he was, I'm trying to work it out. He was 20. And I was 17. And so I would borrow his ID to go out to the clubs. And so one of my new friends at the pool was like, oh, we're going out to for one of their birthdays. So we all went out, and we got a little taxi over there, and we went, and they were like, right, we're going, just to let you know, we're going to a gay club, and all these people were straight, but they were like, right, look, don't be scared, right? It's seriously the best club around. Everyone goes, gay, straight, whatever.
Most
Like,
gay bars are the best.
Yeah, exactly. But at the time, I was like, oh, we're going to a gay bar. But yeah, so I was like, cool, whatever. And they were like, it's the best place to be. So we went in there, and I was just absolutely amazed. It was the first time I'd ever been around any gay people or any gay bars or whatever. Because genuinely, I knew that I was gay, but I come from such a small town. I'd never experienced any gay people. I'd never experienced anything to do with that at all. I'd only seen it on TV. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't much TV either. I think there was Queer as Folk. That's the only thing I'd ever watched with gay people in. So I was absolutely amazed. I was like, wow, this is so fucking cool. And then I just ended up getting really drunk, and I ended up following this boy around that I fancied for ages, like a lost puppy. But by the time I'd finished like wandering around following this boy around, I then realised all my friends were gone, and I was like, what's happening? And it was quite late. And then I got a phone call. No, I didn't get a phone call, actually. So I went outside, and I sat in the smoking area, and I was upset because I couldn't find my friends. And this girl came up to me, and she was like, are you okay? And we started talking, and I was like, she was a lesbian, and I just felt safe talking to her. You know, I didn't know her. She was in this gay bar. I was like, I think I'm bisexual. And so she was like, oh, wow. She was like, well, I've got a gay roommate. And I was like, oh, really? And because I'd never been introduced to a gay person before. So she introduced me, and she was like, do you want to come back to ours? We're going to drink some wine and like order some takeaway. And I was like, yeah, cool. Anyway, so that was my first ever gay experience, because then I ended up sleeping with him. And that was like a big thing. And I was like, so it was just crazy to me. Like, first time I ever went to a gay bar, ended up sleeping with a gay man. And then, so I absolutely adored that club. And so this guy kept inviting me to the club, and I just kept going. And then I didn't really like him anymore. And I started going to the club on my own. So I'd travel up there on the train on my own. It was about half an hour away from my hometown. And I'd go to the gay club every weekend. And I wouldn't tell any of my friends that I was going to a gay club. And then I met this other guy, and I absolutely fell in love with him. Like, his name is Michael, and I was infatuated by him. And we started this whole weird relationship. Like, he would come and pick me up in his car, and we'd drive around, and we'd go to his friend's house for drinks and stuff. And yeah, it was kind of a little, and then it turns out that he had a boyfriend. So I went to the club one day, mm-hmm. and I was with my brother and sister, because it was one of their birthdays, and they wanted to go to this club, which was the gay club. And I was thinking, oh my God, I can't go there. But then I had to. So we were outside the club, and into the smoking area comes this boy that I'd been seeing, and then walks around the corner his boyfriend, and his boyfriend comes storming up to me and says, you've been sleeping with my boyfriend, like, fuck you, you're only 17, I'm going to tell the door staff that you're 17. And then he proceeded to run up to the door staff and tell him I was 17. And this was all happening in front of my brother and sister. And I was like, oh my fucking God, I wanted the ground to swallow me up. It was terrible. Yeah, that's how they found out.
He decided to blame you instead of his own boyfriend, who was...
Well, it's usually the case.
Yes, it is. It is.
That's how my brother and sister found out. And then that's the day I decided, fuck it, I'm just going to tell everyone. Might as well. So I was drunk anyway. It was the best time to just go around telling everyone. So we couldn't get into that
club. Hi, I'm gay.
Yeah, we couldn't get into that club. So we went back to my hometown, and we went out and saw everyone we worked with, my best friend who I worked with, who was a straight guy at the time. And we just told everyone. We went around telling everyone. And then my brother and sister, I asked them to tell my mum and dad, because I was too scared. But they did, and my mum and dad were fine. And the great thing my mum and dad said, which I'll always remember, is nothing. They didn't say anything. And that was what I thought was wonderful. At the time, I was like, well, are we going to have a conversation? And my mum and dad were like, what do we need to talk about? You're gay, and that's fine. There was no conversation needed. Because, I mean, when you come out as gay to your parents, what conversation do you need? Like, that's it. You know, as long as you're safe and whatever, that's it. You don't need a conversation, really. I don't think. And I thought that was great.
It would be nice if we got to the point where that conversation didn't even have to happen, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, you got a taste of that, which is great because your parents were like, okay, you're gay. So,
yeah.
you know, it's not like somebody woke up one day and just said, I'm going to tell everybody I'm straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Although that day may come. I mean, it's funny that it may come to that where, you know, people may have to choose what they're chosen. And even if they don't even have to do that. But I mean, there's so many different variations of sexuality that, you know, putting a handle on anything seems to be crazy. It's okay. It just seems to be that we spend too much time worrying about handles and labels. So
yeah, absolutely.
So okay, now you're 17. You're just, you know, you're learning to discover yourself. I mean, to hear young Josh being I don't want to say secure because I don't think that's truly the case, but as secure as you are in yourself now, it's great to hear that, you know, you had gone through that transition like everyone else did. So I have to ask, how did you go from being that 17-year-old self-discovery to deciding to get into porn?
Okay, so I will tell you, when I was 14 or 15, I would go on the internet when all my parents had gone to bed, and I always I could never watch any of the porn, and I never really watched videos because I always used to log on to the big porn sites, and it was Lucas Entertainment. That's what I used to go on their site, and I used to look at the boys because you could see just the trailers, I think, or just the pictures. And I used to think, wow, I want to do that one day. And I used to look on the apply to model page, and I thought, I can't wait until I'm 18 until I can sign up. And I vividly remember thinking that. And yeah, and I always wanted to be some sort of model or something like that. And so when I was 18, I actually got an agent, and I went into modeling, and I worked for London Fashion Week, and I did a little bit of modeling, but it didn't take off, not the way I wanted to, and it was just, yeah, it wasn't a career path for me. I wasn't up to the standard, or I wasn't what they wanted at the time. So I just got on with life, really. I moved to Brighton with my boyfriend, because I got a boyfriend when I was 18. And I worked in a bar, and I experienced, because Brighton at the time, it's not so much anymore, but Brighton at the time was kind of like a gay mecca in England. It was the gay capital, but now Manchester is, I think, because Brighton's a seaside town. So, you know, all the seaside towns have gone a bit downhill. But it was fantastic, and it was like, I got there, I worked I got a job right in the gay scene and the biggest gay bar in Brighton, and it was like, it was just amazing. It was so amazing just to find out all these new, exciting things, you know. I was blown away, like, I loved it. I just loved being 18, and, you know, we can drink at 18. I was free, I could do whatever the fuck I wanted. It was so fun, and, you know, I was just living like a student, you know, just working in a bar, just loved the nightlife, going out all the time. But yeah, it was fantastic. And I didn't really think about porn at all. And I didn't think about it, doing it at all, since I was like, since I was about 15. So yeah, going through life, I had quite a lot of jobs. I moved all over the place around England. Angel, no bites, please. Thank you. So I moved all around England. I did loads of different things. I had a few different boyfriends. I came out of a really abusive relationship, and and then I had to move back to my hometown because I lived, I don't know, I think I lived in fucking Wiltshire or something. Lived all over the place. So I came back and I got a job as a teller in foreign exchange. So I was working at a counter, and I was that bitchy boy at the counter, and it was me and one of my girlfriends, Lindsay, and we were the bitchiest counter people you could ever come across. It was so funny. And we always used to tell people that we were closed, even though we weren't, just because we were on the internet or just chatting away. So then I got into a lot of drugs because I was very unhappy. And I used to go to raves, and I used to just live for the weekend. I was always partying, and that would make me even more unhappy when I wasn't partying. And then I just thought, what am I going to do with my life? I got myself into a lot of debt as well. And then one day I was watching porn, and it was Lucas Entertainment. And I saw in the corner of my eye at the top the applied to model page. And then I remembered when I was 15 about how I wanted to do something like that. And I looked in the mirror and I thought, oh God, they'll never have me. Like, look at the boys on Lucas Entertainment. They're beautiful, they're huge and muscly. And you know what? I was quite twinky when I first started. And I thought they'll never want me. And I was drunk at the time. And I just applied as kind of a joke. And just in the back of my mind, I thought they're never going to want me. So I sent all my images in on the apply to model page. So I got an email back in like half an hour. And then I did a Skype interview with Michael Lucas. And on like a week later, I think, I was in Greece filming my first scene.
Really?
So yeah, it moved really quickly.
Well, that is quick. That is quick. So obviously it was a good move.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
What was your first scene like? I mean, was it what you expected to be when you got to set?
My first scene, it was scary, and it was when I got there, it was very unorganized, and it was like I thought it would be. I don't know. I got there and it was quite late at night, and it was quite unorganized, and then I was just quite scared because I was like, what the hell is going on? I didn't know what was happening. I was in a foreign place with weird people, and it was just like, what the fuck is going on? And it was very, very late at night, and I literally had to do my first scene like that night, the night I landed, and it was very late already. It was like, I think it was like 8 p.m. when I got there. I'd just flown 4 hours to Greece, and then they wanted me to do a scene like straight away. And I didn't end up starting my scene until midnight. And yeah, that's how crazy it was. Like, you know, other companies would actually be like, obviously we can't do a scene when you land, but you know, right. They're very much like, we don't give a shit. You're doing this, you're doing that. So yeah, I was filming. The only thing that made it acceptable was I was filming with Thomas Brand, and he is the most gentle, like wonderful human being you could ever meet. Like, he's gorgeous. He's like, I think he's like 50 something. But he's like a muscle god, and he's so sweet and gentle. And that was the only thing that made it like good.
Tolerable.
Yes. And then I was kind of like, wow, this is like, but to be honest, all the way through the shoots, like, I didn't really like at first the way they like the way it was filming and everything, I thought this is like not, I don't like this. But then the freedom, because I didn't know about prep before I started porn at all. So the company obviously told me about prep and told me where to get it, and I started on prep. So I'd never really done bareback sex. And then to come on set with like 20 of the hottest boys you can ever imagine, and then to have the freedom of just like of being on prep, it was a whole new world, and it was just amazing. That fact was just amazing. Like, and I had sex with like everyone. I was just all over the place. And also what amazed me as well is like I never really had like I never really had casual things. So it was, I'd always had like more of a dialogue and more of like a kind of whole process, and then sleeping with someone, you know, I had more of the traditional dating kind of thing. And then to go straight into sex with someone, like the first minute you've met them, and then to get to know them afterwards, it was such a process for me. And it took a while for me to kind of get my head around detaching myself like emotionally from these people, because when I was first on set with the Lucas Entertainment you know, boys, I started like falling for people, you know, just being with them. I started falling for like people I'd done a scene with, and you know, it's all smiles and happiness and whatever, but they're probably not thinking the same, and I'm just this boy who's just started like, oh my god, I'm like in love with you, and they're like, oh, this is literally just my job. So
it's understandable. I mean,
yeah,
it's a whole different culture, and you have to learn the culture. It's like going to a different country. Everybody has a different way of doing things that another country would see differently. So, I mean, it might be the same activity, but people do it different ways. So it makes sense. Makes sense. So how did you come up with your porn name?
I didn't come up with my porn name. My original porn name was Josh Ryder, and Michael Lucas came up with that one.
Okay.
I did want something totally different. I always wanted Josh Jones, and I thought it was really cool, and I still do actually. And I wish I could just go back in time and keep that. But yeah, it was originally Josh Ryder, and then when I split with Lucas Entertainment, I took Logan Moore's last name because we were an item. Oh, that was the stupidest decision I ever made. Yeah, so there I am.
Now.
Yeah, of course I own
your name now, and I see no affiliation there. I mean, I'm sure some people do, but I don't see it. I see Josh Moore.
There's no real affiliation anymore, because where's Logan Moore?
Well, I have to admit, I was around then when you two were together, and I was there after. Didn't have an opinion one way or another, because as far as I'm concerned, there's two sides to every story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And all I ever saw were people talking about his side and how gentlemanly you were about not saying anything at all. And that's kind of where I left it, you know?
That's the thing. You know, I chose to not say anything because he went on a Twitter like tyrant. You know, he made a video where he was crying and everything, you know, and I never said a word. And I just thought, you know what? If you want to spout your bullshit and your lies and your hate all over the internet and tell everyone that we know in the industry like lies, then you go and do that, because I will just play the long game, and I will just not say anything, because I know what happened, and I know people will eventually see through your just blatant lies. It's just, I was just like, and a lot of people gave me, you know, a lot of people close to me and some people in the industry said, just don't say anything, because people will see him for who he is. And they have. And that's it. That's where he is now. So
That works. That
yeah.
works. So, what's your favorite part of being in the industry? What is something that you enjoy so much about being a part of this industry?
Travel is a great one, and that's not the sole reason, because I travel anyway. But I think the sense of kind of community as well, because I'm not really part of a gay community as per se. I don't have any gay friends here in London, or I have a minimal amount of gay friends here in London. So I'm not part of the gay. I'm not part of a community in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the porn community is a real. I love it. It's something else that I'm part of, and that I really really enjoy that. So yeah, the sense of community is really great, and we all bitch about each other and we all have Twitter fights, but at the end of the day, we all come together every year and we all just enjoy it. We enjoy each other's company, and there's always someone in the industry that you can talk to about something. There's always people you can rely on. Yeah, it's just, that's what I love for sure.
Well, it's family, and in every family, there's dysfunction, and there's
Yeah.
love, and there's fights, and there's makeups, and so yeah, it's just your family, or the family, I should say,
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm part of that. Is it's just a public where people can watch it, if it's being shared publicly. So, which of course Twitter gives people the option to do so.
Yeah.
Not necessarily always for a positive thing, but it does happen. So,
Yeah.
speaking of family, how did your family take, or do they know, and how much do they know about what you've chosen as a career at this point?
They know everything, and they are fantastic. I never thought I could say that about them. I guess I didn't have enough faith in them as parents, and for no reason, just through, I think it's just through seeing other people, and other people's experiences, and then you kind of just get terrified about what your parents are going to say, on the basis of other people. But they've always been fantastic. I told them 2 years after I started porn. I've been in porn 4 years now, and so I waited 2 years because I wanted something to show. I wanted something to show them. I wanted to say, I do porn, but this is what I've made of myself. This is what I've done. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So before I told them, I paid off all my credit cards. I got my own place. I bought my dream car, and I said to my mum and dad, I was like, right, this is what I do for a living. Because I told them I was a model at first, and then I said, actually, this is what I do for a living, but this is what I've made out of it, and this is the career that I've chosen. It's not just something that's like gonna fade out in a couple of years, and it's not. And for me, it is a career, and I'm making something of myself. And they were like, as long as you're being safe. And then I explained PrEP to my mum and dad, and how I'm being as safe as possible, and they were fine with it, absolutely fine. And now they're super supportive. I called my mum and dad yesterday, and we had a FaceTime, and they were like, how's your OnlyFans doing? Are you doing well? And they always ask about things, and it's still a bit strange to me that, like, how was your scene today? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm talking about this with my parents. But
well, it is
yeah.
acting. I mean, you are an actor. I mean,
Yeah.
you just, and it's funny that people can't see that is this is your job. This is not all that defines who you are. It's a job.
Yeah.
And your job is to act and do scenes and have sex in these scenes. So
Yeah.
it's really no different than what happens in Hollywood. It's just got a different
Absolutely.
name to it,
Yeah. And I always think it's funny that people judge porn stars, or for, you know, sex workers for their job. And it's like, do you judge, you know, Carol in accounting because she's an accountant? Do you even think about that when you are thinking about Carol, you know? Like, just this made up person. But, you know, if you know this Carol, probably the last thing you're thinking about is what she does for work.
Well, of course.
And that's the last thing. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I think this double standard needs to stop. I mean, it's not prostitution. I mean, the definition of prostitution is something it's a whole lot different than doing porn videos. You're not forced, you're paid, you know, whereas prostitution, people are, you know, they're usually minors and they're forced into it and they're not paid appropriately, if at all, you know. In most cases, they're controlled by drugs. So it's not the same thing. And I find it fascinating when people talk about, oh yeah, I would love to meet a porn star. I'd love to date a porn star. And then they do. And then they're like, but you do porn. So I don't know if I can be in this relationship with you because you sleep around. And most porn stars, if you ask them and sit down with them, they don't have as much sex as everybody seems to think that they do. And I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, you guys are not like sex fiends out there looking for your next score every time you turn around.
Exactly, yeah. Like outside of work, I barely have sex. Like, I mean, I outside of OnlyFans filming and porn, I barely do engage in any sex for myself. But that's, you know, don't be like, oh, poor you. Yeah, but you know, I enjoy OnlyFans filming and, you know, my work so much. And that is kind of, you know, you know, I don't do anything that I don't want to do. That's it. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, do you get any enjoyment out of it? And yeah, because I carefully pick all my partners and, you know, I'm not going to film. I don't film OnlyFans just to film it, just to get content. I always film with people that I want to, and, you know, people that turn me on, and do it because I really want to. And that's the first thing.
Well, you wouldn't do this if you didn't enjoy it. I know enough about you to know that if you didn't enjoy this job, this career, you wouldn't do it. There are so many other things out there that you could. So I just, trust me, I get it. I do. And this is part of why I do the show, is for people to understand that you guys are more than just the sexual beings that you are. It is a part of who you are, but it's not all of who you are. And it's time that misunderstanding got laid to rest, even by fans, because as much as they watch you and order, you know, buy your scenes and you know, want to be involved in your movies and see all the things that you do, you are more than just what's on the screen. And that's important for people to understand, because you're a human being and you deserve respect and like everybody else. So
absolutely.
So what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about the porn industry?
Misconception. Well, I think people have the misconception that because you're a porn star, or because you're a porn star in a club wearing barely any clothes, that they can touch you. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves, that I'm the worst. I mean, some people don't mind it. But me, oh, absolutely not. When I was in, where was it? I think we was in Vegas, Hustler Ball, this time around. And just like, I think people think that I'm people think I'm a bitch, and it's for good reason, because, you know, I don't take any shit when it comes to things like that. So I come off the stage after doing a sex show with Michael Boston, and I was standing talking to Jared, he works for Falcon behind the scenes, and I was just standing. So there was a little velvet rope where the locker room, which is where we all get dressed and stuff, meets the kind of it's like the entrance to the club. So I was standing behind this velvet rope in the locker room. Jared was standing the other side of it talking to me, and I was just totally naked because I just finished my show. Someone walked past
and they literally just grabbed my dick, and I like smacked them so fucking hard, and I was like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And everyone's like, oh my god, what's going on? And I'm just like, oh god. And then
Seriously.
I was just like, I need to get out of here, and I left, because I usually just go to these sex shows now, and you know, I'm not a party boy anymore, really. So I literally do my show and I go home, because I really just don't like the whole that kind of.
That was completely uncalled for. Not I mean,
Well, you know,
personal
people
space.
just. What it is.
It's called consideration and personal space. You're entitled to it.
Absolutely, you know, everyone. Consent is the key. You know, everyone. You should always ask for consent, and it's just, you know, that's a preconception. That's a preconception that, you know, not just porn stars. There's a preconception is because you're in a club and you're naked that you want to be touched without consent. I think it's just whatever, but you know, that's what I dislike for sure.
Well, it's no different than the old belief, and I've obviously fought this as a woman for years, that women were accused of, because of the way they dressed, that they asked for it, type mentality. And you know, it's if I chose to stand in the middle of Grand Central butt ass naked because I felt like standing in Grand Central butt ass naked, it does not mean that someone has the right to come up and touch me because I choose to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than for you to work in a club and do a show, and part of the show is that you removed all your clothes. It doesn't have a sign that says, okay, I'm free to touch. There's no connection there, none at all. So trust me, I get the whole preconceived belief system. Maybe that's why gay men and women get along so well, because we share the same, you know, been there, done that. So I'm sorry you experienced that, because that's completely uncalled for and completely unhealthy.
No, I think I think as a gay man and a woman, you experience it just in life, you know, in general. So
what, besides the entertainment value of porn, what is something else that you would love for people to take away from it and the industry?
I think like, I don't know. Well, I think a lot of people learn about sex through porn, actually, because I know, especially gay sex, because, you know, there's not any information for young gay men at all, like, about anything. I never had any information. Like, I didn't really know anything about. Well, the fact is, I didn't know about sex until I actually got into porn. So I was 22 until I learned about PrEP, and I think it was around for about 4 years previous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was an eye-opener for me. So I just hope that people can learn some things from it, especially about sex, and kind of, hopefully people can take away some things from there, because, you know, their parents aren't teaching them, and especially that not their schools.
Well, on some level, you guys are the go-to, especially in younger. I mean, we know that porn is strictly supposed to be 18 and over, but we're in reality. We're in the real world. We know that there are people under the age of 18 that are watching or finding porn.
For sure.
And a lot of it is because they're trying to find answers, you know.
For sure. I'm flooded with DMs all the time asking about, you know, I'm like asking like just advice, you know, what's this, what's that, what's douching, what's PrEP, how do you have anal sex, you know? And it's like, so there's so many people reaching out because they literally don't know. They don't know anything. And there's a lot of people reach out and like,
from countries that it's illegal to be gay, and they're just scared, and it's insane. Some of the DMs that I get, and the kind of reach that porn has.
Well, it is. It's horrible to imagine living in a country where you can be put to death for who you are attracted to and who you love. And
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
we still have a long way to go. We still, unfortunately, have a very long way to go.
Yeah,
Um,
whole way to go.
Which give me a scene that you're most proud of. Something that the project that you've done that you've gone back to and just gone, wow, that turned out really, really great.
Um, I don't think I have a scene, but a project, the Gay Simple Life, I'm very, very proud of, because that was just, it was an amazing project to work on. Like, it was so, so fun. It was one of the funnest projects I've ever worked on.
It's a good video.
Yeah, for sure. And California as well. One of my biggest movies to work on. And that was an amazing experience to work on, for sure. Driving down the California coast from like Santa Barbara. Well, where was we first? We were in San Francisco. Where did we go? No, we went to Santa Cruz and San Francisco. And then we drove down to Palm Springs. So we drove down the California coast in a VW camper, and it was stick shift as well, so no one could drive it except me and Dakota Payne. So none of the crew could drive it. So I had to learn my lines on the road with the script on the dashboard, and there was cameras all over the camper van. On each corner of the window screen there was cameras, and there was Tony from behind as well. So we had to I was driving for hours and hours and hours, and when I mean hours, like, we were driving for days and days and days. So it was a whole week of traveling, and so we just literally just went through it, and we just learned lines on the road while we drove, and it was so cool. Just like the sun, it was like California sunsets. We were stopping at all these beaches, and it was just like the coolest road trip, and it was just amazing. It really was, and it was just filled me with such.
Sounds great. Sounds like fun.
It was beautiful. I mean, if you haven't watched California, it's definitely one to watch for sure.
I haven't. I've seen the other one, but I have not seen that one, so I will have to go back and find that. Yeah,
it was really fun. That was that was one of the best times of my life, Gay Simple Life too, because I'm just doing drag in a fucking Oklahoma.
I have to admit, when you walked out at the Straight Up night, I did not recognize you at first. I had to look, and I had to look. I'm like, Calvin, yes, I recognize Calvin, but I didn't you. And it took me a minute, and I'm like, who is that? I mean, I knew you.
I know. She's a real fine woman.
She's very classy. She's very classy.
She is.
A little sassy, but very classy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I just love it. I love it, and I don't know how we're going to top that in Gay Simple Life 2. I don't really know. We're going to have to do something real crazy.
Gay Simple Life takes on Paris. Now that would be funny. That would be.
I want to do somewhere a bit. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I want to do something real.
I'll leave you to that secret. I'll leave that secret alone. That's good. It'll keep us all in suspense and a big surprise.
Absolutely.
So tell me something about you that maybe other people wouldn't know.
That other people wouldn't know.
Some skill that maybe a skill you're really good at that people wouldn't picture you doing.
A skill. I don't think I have any skills.
You don't knit?
I used to knit, you know. I actually did used to knit. My grandmother taught me. I don't think I would know how to knit anymore, but yeah, when I was younger, I used to knit a lot. Um, I'm a fierce cook. I can cook a lot of different things. I like cooking. Um, what else? I'm not a skill, but like I'm really OCD about cleaning. I very much enjoy cleaning.
That's your
That
relax.
for me.
So what do
Oh,
you do to relax? What do you do for downtime? What do you do for fun?
I clean. I really do. That's literally that I love it. Like I am one of those people. I vacuum my fucking patio because I'm that OCD. Yeah,
Seriously? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I really enjoy that for sure. No, I love to swim as well, and swimming is a real joy for me, and I just I'm missing it so much. Like there's nothing more than I love than the process. So I'll go to the gym and the process of like going in the locker room, getting in my speedos, having a shower, like getting in the pool. Yeah, I just really enjoy it. The whole process, and I think it really reminds me of my childhood. You know, because I swam from when I could, when I was old enough to swim, up until I was like 16.
Hmm.
So I swam competitively, and I was at a swimming gala every weekend, and I trained, all through the week. So when I was at school, I would have to get up at like 6 a.m. to get to the pool for like 6:30, and then I'd finish swimming at 7:30, and then I'd have to get to school for 8. So it was like, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot to deal with as a kid, but
Kept you out of
you know,
trouble.
like, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
When
Well,
did you have time? Well, I mean, the big trouble, not the regular kid trouble, but the big trouble.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, fun questions.
Fun.
Yeah, Superman or Batman?
Superman for sure.
Um, Spider-Man or Thor?
Thor.
The Green Hornet or Captain America?
Um, that's not the Green Lantern, is it?
No.
No. Captain America then, yeah.
Okay. So then, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, if I had a superpower, what would it be? I think I would want to be like that. I want to be like that guy from X-Men, the one that had the big angel wings. And he could fly.
Okay. I can't imagine why. I'm looking at the picture behind you.
I know, seriously. Yeah.
Angel wings are cool. Angel wings
Yeah.
are good. And I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
I've got my head is right in the right place.
Yes,
you know.
you've put that in perfectly. I've been between staring at you and staring at him, and the light that's hitting it just right. It's pretty cool. Yeah, his whole face is in halo, so that's great. Exactly. So, what trait do you like most about yourself?
Oh, what do I like most about myself? Um, oh my God. Asking me something I like about myself.
Yes.
That's a difficult question.
Not
Um,
really. I mean, I could list off a ton of things about you, but I want you to do that.
Oh, I like that I'm not totally, um, that I'm not totally kind of open to everyone, you know? I like that because I genuinely feel like a lot of people are really super nice and like super lovely, and then you just think, is that all genuine? And some people it is, but some people it's just like they just do it to please others. But I'm just, I don't think I'm not like that. You know, if I don't like something or I don't want to talk to someone, I just won't. And that's very me. And I like that I don't give myself away when I don't want to. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I do.
Because I think a lot of people give away a lot of themselves all the time for other people's benefit, even though they don't want to. You know, even if they're in a bad mood, they're still like, "Oh yeah, I'm really happy," and you know, I'm gonna give. And I don't give myself away unless I want to. So yeah, that's what I like about myself.
Okay. What do you like?
A lot of people call that a bitch.
No, no. There's a word for it, and while you were talking, I was trying to think of it. It's because I don't want to say selective. It's not selective. You're just more. I don't even know what the word was, but no. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be more reserved. I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You don't. You don't give away yourself to just anybody, and that's okay. That's who you are.
Yeah.
You know. What is a trait you like about other people? What attracts you?
What attracts me to other people?
Hmm.
I think a bit of mystery, you know. I think that really attracts me to other people. I like people who have. I like people who you really have to get to know. You know, people that are quite.
They're not an
Yeah,
open book.
that's it. Yeah, I like that in people for sure.
Okay, it's a good quality. So, is the glass half full or half empty?
It depends what day you ask me, really. No, I always try to think it's half full for sure.
Okay. Okay. What makes you smile?
What makes me smile? My dogs make me smile a lot, for sure.
That unconditional love, it's hard to beat.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. What upsets you? What makes you sad or angry?
What upsets me is injustice in the world, you know, racism, homophobia, transphobia, yeah, things like that upset me a lot, sure. And politics. Politics upset.
Yes, well, we both have our fair share of. Although yours seems to be more tame right now, ours is out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't go down that rabbit hole. Um,
Oh, it's a big
we
old
could
rabbit
spend
hole.
another hour just on sharing probably the same opinion about a lot of things. So, what would you like to be remembered for?
Oh, what would I like to be remembered for?
Hmm.
Um, I, I want to be remembered for, you know, I don't know, being authentically me, just being, being outspoken and mischievous and whatever, but then also helping people as well. I do like to help people when I can, um, through my platforms of social media, because I feel like there's a lot of big names with big platforms, and they don't do anything for anyone else. You know, they don't choose to use their platform to help people. And yeah, I want to help. I want to help people with what I've got and my following and whatever, and spread good messages as well. Because I feel like most
in the most part, I do spread good messages, for sure.
You do. You do. So, if you had an autobiography about yourself written, what would it be called?
What would it be called? Hmm. Oh, that's such a difficult one. I think it would be called Josh Jones, you know, because Josh Jones is the name I always wanted from my full name.
Yeah.
So that's what it would be called.
All right. I like it. So, if you had, speaking of helping others, if you had any advice for someone who's interested in getting into the porn industry, what would you tell them?
Um, what would I tell them? Don't. No,
Don't.
Yeah. Yeah, just take some time. Take some time to think about it and evaluate every aspect of it. You know, make sure. I don't think if unless you want a career, I don't think it's a good idea, to be honest, because especially in America, and I think, sorry,
It's okay.
especially in America, and I think here too, it's like if you do this for a short time and then try and get a job, or you know you want a career in something, or you want to do something major. You know, I hear all the time about people being fired or not getting jobs for their past, and so just be aware and think about your future and what you want to do.
Do you find it pervasive in your life?
No, not at all for me. It's never caused a problem in my life, but that's because everyone in my life knows what I do. I've never had a problem with anything else because I have chosen this as a career,
Okay.
so it doesn't affect me in that way. You know, I'm not a kind of person who's ever going to be going and getting a job which requires someone to really look into my past because this is my career.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so just be aware, you know, be fully ready to, you know, for it to just make sure you know the impact it's going to have on your life.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So, where would a new fan, a pre-existing fan, be able to find your work, find your content, follow you?
First of all, you can find me at falconstudios.com, or you can also find me at nakedsword.com as well. Naked Sword is the biggest library of porn it's the Netflix of porn, gay porn. Anyway, you can find me there or falconstudios.com. You can also find me on OnlyFans, so you can find me at onlyfans.com/Josh Moore XXX, and you can find me at Just for Fans as well, and that's just for .fans/Josh Moore XXX. You can also find me on Pornhub,
Okay.
because I have a Pornhub profile now as well, which I do sell my videos there, and there are trailers to my OnlyFans there as well. And also I have a ManyVids profile. So let me just look up my ManyVids. So it's manyvids.com/Josh Moore XXX.
Nice. Okay.
So many different platforms where you can find me, and they all do, you know, a lot of them do similar things, but you know, you go to OnlyFans and you can subscribe, and I have over 300 videos and like 200 pictures, and I upload twice a week. And at somewhere like ManyVids, you can buy
separate videos, so you can buy a singular video for a certain price, and you can keep that video forever. So they do different things depending on what you want.
Nice. Wonderful. So, what would you, if you had to give a message to all of your fans, what would you like to tell them?
What would I like to tell them? Well, I just want to give my absolute gratitude, because without all my fans, I would be nowhere. You know, I wouldn't have anything that I have today, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without these fans, because they are my entire life. You know, they're my entire career, they're my entire life, and yeah, I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for always sticking by me and enjoying my work. And I just want to continue to, you know, do good work and keep them on their toes, keep surprising them, and keep giving them a lot of happiness and pleasure.
Well, I can tell you, you are a very bright star in a lot of people's, you know, following you. And I honestly appreciate you sitting down and sharing yourself with me and everybody. And it took us a little while to get here, but we got here. And so I'm really glad we did this. Thank you, Josh, very much.
Me too. I'm very glad.
Hopefully, we'll all be released soon out of quarantine, and we'll all get to be able to get together again and see each other, and you know, be
I'm
able
very
to
excited.
move around the world again, which would be nice.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully we don't have another quarantine, because God.
Yeah. I don't want to think about having to go into the 2021, you know, with this still hanging over our head. Although, who knows? Hopefully not. So.
Hopefully not, who knows? But, you know, this, if you look at history, the Spanish flu had a real crazy second wave.
Yes.
So, you know, you should be prepared for anything, for sure.
Always. I was never a Girl Scout, but, you know, be prepared is always a good thing anyway.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening.
You as well. Bye, baby.
I'm an angel.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Behind the Scenes. I hope you're all doing well, that you're staying safe. Remember, smile and laugh every day. Hug someone that you love, be it 2 or 4-legged. I know it's hard to do that right now, but be strong. And remember, you are special. Thanks again for watching the show. I can't wait to share my next episode with you, so stay tuned. Bye-bye.